accidentally said I love you, ex's name, to my girlfriend. Okay, so to keep things brief, me and this girl have been on and off for about a year. I love her a lot, and when I choose to fully commit myself and fall for someone, I don't give up at the first sign of trouble. I'm only posting this here because to my knowledge we are still in a relationship. We have been on and off because she thinks that I still have feelings for my ex-girlfriend. I've pleaded with her so much that I don't talk to my ex. I don't think about my ex at all. It's over and done with. This has caused a lot of problems for us in the past, but I just don't know how to prove that I moved on besides being fully committed and active in my new relationship. We got together again sometime in September, and besides a couple bumps in the road, things were going great. I felt like she was really committing and putting an effort, and to say the least I was deeply in love and just happy. Then one day, as we were talking on the phone as we usually do, the worst thing I could have possibly said came out of my mouth. I was distracted while talking and accidentally said I love you, ex's name. I was horrified and immediately apologized and told her it was an accident. She didn't say a word, she just went silent for a good while, then hung up. After that she immediately hung up and deleted me off Snapchat, Insta, turned off her location on iMessage. A couple things to know. My ex was my first real relationship and we were together for 3 years. I ended things with her. The last time I spoke to her was in January when she randomly showed up to my house with some of my mail. I haven't thought about her for a while, but on Sunday morning, the day of the call, I was at my mom's and she was asking me if I could ask my ex to send the family photos my ex took of my family a couple years ago. I told my mom that I'm sorry, but that's not possible as me and ex don't talk and have each other blocked on most things. I'm not using that as an excuse for saying what I said, but I just don't know why her name slipped out like that. Another thing to know is that me and this girl have been on and off for a while, and this isn't the first time she's deleted me off stuff. Her whole thing is that she finds it difficult to trust. She hasn't talked to me in 5 days, and I dropped off an apology letter with some flowers at her house yesterday. As far as relationships go, can you get past a mistake like this? Comment? Like maybe if their names were similar I could see it, but I kind of doubt that's the case. Some examples: Julia and Jillian, Lauren and Laura, Maria and Marina, Mary and Marie, etc. But yet I'm sure OP would have said if their names were similar, so, assuming that's not a factor. Sorry, dude. I think this is over for good. She was already insecure about your ex and you not being over her. Did she have reason to think that way before the ILYX incident? This confirmed everything for her, even if it was an honest mistake. If you did get back together, which probably won't happen, I doubt she'd be able to let it go. This will never not be an issue between you. I think it was an honest mistake, but it also likely cemented everything she thought about where your heart is, even if it's not true. I am pretty sure your relationship is over not because you did something wrong, exactly, but because she will likely feel happier and more secure without you. Whether or not you're 100% over your ex honestly doesn't even matter at this point. What matters is that it was hurtful to your partner. Even if you didn't mean to, you said that you love your ex. You mentioned that she's called you by her ex's name, too. But it's not really a fair comparison unless she said she loved him. It's one thing to have your brain do a weird thing, but it's another thing entirely for your brain to do a weird thing while expressing love and affection. If my fiancé called me by his ex's name, I would be extremely hurt. If he did it while expressing his affection for me, verbally or physically, I imagine I'd be pretty heartbroken. That's all especially true because we've been together for basically half a decade. You dropped off a letter and some flowers at her house. You seem like a genuinely good dude who made an honest mistake. I think at the age of 24 blocking/deleting off socials after a small hiccup is immature and shows she doesn't have great resolution/communication skills. If you love her, and to me, it seems that way considering the effort you went to make it up to her, she should hopefully come round and see that. But if it becomes an uphill battle and you find yourself endlessly trying to recover from the mistake, I don't think it's worth the hassle. You're 24. You've got plenty of time and there's plenty of women in the world. Don't get caught up in something that might become draining in the long run if she has trust issues. All the best. Honestly, do you even really want to date a girl that keeps blocking you on everything and goes dark every time there's a problem? It sounds like she's obsessed with this idea that you're in love with your ex and using it as a reason not to commit to you. You can try apologizing to this girl and having an in-person conversation, but in the long run, you're gonna be running into situations where she withdraws herself. It's your choice if that's the type of relationship you want, but I would recommend finding a girl that wants to be with you. Story 2. Sibling uninvited my husband BC. He does not know what to talk about with him. So my husband and I got married this year. He is from a different culture and religion. Things were rocky in the beginning regarding my family. My parents were not happy. I expected it to be happening due to how my childhood was. After I told my parents we were planning to get married, they tried to stop me from it multiple times, and one of my parents did not even want to join the wedding at first. He got ignored at get-together. They always tried to speak in their mother tongue around him, knowing he does not understand it, to, what I assume, make him feel excluded, while I nevertheless always answered in the other language, etc., etc. Over the years, my now husband and I tried to meet them regularly-ish so they can get to know him and get a feeling of his character and him as a person. Always in a setting where they had the option to leave at any time without it seeming / looking rude. To make things easier for them despite us being hurt by it. My family is afraid of things and people outside of their own world / how they have been brought up and experienced life in their small town. This has always been a thing. My sibling did not say much. I knew he was unsure too, but not against it. He just did not know in what kind of category to put my husband. After the wedding, my father and my sibling came to me independently to tell me they are happy for me and they like my husband, and while they were unsure in the beginning, they know now that there is no reason for it. After so many pretty ugly and rather rude, from their side, get-together, I was really happy to hear this and thought things would get a bit better now. My sibling had his birthday recently. I asked him what the plans were. He told me the family, all the grandparents, uncle and aunts including their spouses, meets for dinner that day, and while I'm welcome, he does not want my husband to join. When I asked him about the reason, he told me it was nothing serious. He just does not really know what to talk about with him and therefore wants to avoid him. While he would have been okay if my husband came along when he meets up with me, he does not want him there at his birthday. I told him it is his right to decide who he wants to have there and whom not, and it is not my place to force him to make a different decision. I am nonetheless not happy at all about it, and I wish for the future that this is not happening again, and he / us will make an effort to her to know my husband and vice versa better. But to be honest, I am at my wit's end. My husband and I can only take that much. I am not willing to let this continue. He is my husband and more family to me than my family has ever been. I am so close to go low to no contact, but my husband urges me to not do this. But what kind of person would I be if I let them treat him that way while I just stand next to it? Comment? Honestly, your family is awful to your husband. I think the best thing you can do is distance yourself from your family. Stop making an effort when they aren't, because it's just hurting you and your husband even more. They're not accepting of your husband. I'm not sure if they ever will. You have to put your new family first. It sounds to me like your brother, who finally accepted that your husband is a good addition to the family, has allowed everyone else's opinions of your husband influence him since the wedding. First of all, do not attend family events without your husband. Henceforth, you're a package deal unless extenuating circumstances, work conflict, out of town, etc., mean you both can't go. When people ask, truthfully tell them why you can't attend. It doesn't sound like they will be, but they should be, and deserve to be, shamed for excluding your family. Secondly, perhaps you want to consider one-on-one time with your brother? Since you won't be attending his family B-day meal, maybe you propose that he join you and your husband for game night and, if he's lucky, cake. An activity that's not just sitting around talking but forces engagement, regardless. That you end up talking and sharing but isn't as stuffy as "it's time for us to get to know each other now." The last sentence is 100% correct. I would let them all know you have given them many chances with disrespecting your husband, but you're tired of it and will be cutting contact. You husband, I think, just doesn't want to be the bad guy and say "yes, I'm hurt" and don't want you to speak to them. So he encourages you to keep speaking to them because he doesn't want to be the bad guy and be the reason. But I would 100% cut them off. You and your husband are a package deal now. If your husband can't go, then neither do you. If there are enough people there for his birthday, then your brother doesn't have to spend a lot of time making awkward conversation because there are a lot of people to talk to. Accidentally said "I love you," ex's name, to my girlfriend. Good luck. Again, with the one-on-one, try to make it activity as opposed to just sitting around and talking. The talking will happen, but many people open up better when their mind/body is otherwise engaged. Go to a trivia night, take a cooking class, take a hike, or even just a walk in a nice neighborhood. That will help your brother let down his walls and see your husband differently. You shouldn't go either, then. You shouldn't go anywhere, for any occasion, where your husband is unwelcome. And it sounds like that's everywhere and every time with your family. I'm sorry. You and your husband are a package deal now. If your husband can't go, then neither do you. If there are enough people there for his birthday, then your brother doesn't have to spend a lot of time making awkward conversation because there are a lot of people to talk to.